A blessed day to each and everyone. My name is FATIMA TARANG, a member from Study Hub number 4. And for today's video, we would like to discuss to you the full coverage of the Module 1, which is the basic concept and issues on human development. And for today, I am going to introduce to you the first reporter of our group, Ms. SHARIFAMAE Antonio, presenting her topic, Children and Adolescents.
Hi everyone, I'm SHARIFAMAE Antonio from BSED-English 1T. So for today's video, I'm going to tackle about the child and adolescents. Child and adolescence means by child human being below the age of 18 years and less. Under the law applicable to the child, majority is attained earlier. According to the World Health Organization, adolescents are those people between 10 to 19 years of age. So, adolescent is involved in a period of rapid and significant change with respect to physical, social, intellectual, spiritual, and moral development. These are one of the examples of physical development. During the early adolescence, when physical changes are rapid, changes in attitudes and behavior are also rapid. So in simple words, adolescence is the transitional phase of youth and development between child and adolescence. A working knowledge of child and adolescent's behavior can help parents understand their child's perspective and thus contextualize behavior. This can help you empathize with your child's situations and help you conceptualize why she is acting in a certain way. As a future educator, we need to understand child and adolescents because as children go through their different stages of life, they approach learning in different ways. When an educator has an intricate understanding of human development, they can use that understanding to make assessment about the behavior of children in the classroom. And that's all for today's video, guys. Once again, I'm SHARIFAMAE Antonio from BSED English 1T. So let's move on to the next topic, which is reported by JUSTINE SAMLIMBOT.
A pleasant morning to each and everyone, especially to you, Coach J. I am JUSTINE SAMLIMBOT. On today's video, I will tackle the stories of Jeffrey Dahmer and Alice Walker. For today, who is Jeffrey Dahmer? Well, Jeffrey Dahmer was born on Milwaukee, Wisconsin on May 21, 1960. He was an energetic and cheerful kid. But one day, it all changed when he became 4 because he had operated double hernia. And it affects as he grows. As Jeffrey grows up, his parents was no longer giving him the attention that he needs because he was followed by a younger brother. Because of moving home to home, Jeffrey didn't have much friends. Jeffrey admits that he started to do crimes when he was 14 because he can accept that his parents got divorced. Jeffrey Dahmer murdered 17 African American males between 1978 and 1991. Some thought that Jeffrey Dahmer was a racist, but he said that racism is not the reasons of his killings. Over the course more than 13 years, as I say, mostly African American males at gay bars, malls, and bus stops lured them home with promises of money or sex, and gave them alcohol laced with drugs before struggling them to death. He would then engage in sex acts with the corpse before dismembering them and disposing of them, often keeping their skulls or genitals as souvenirs. He frequently take photos of his victims at various stages of murder's process, so he could recollect each act afterward and relive the experience. Dahmer was captured in 1991 and sentenced to 16 terms. He was killed by fellow prison inmate Christopher's cover in 1994. And today, we will go to Alice Walker. Who is Alice Walker? Alice Walker was born on February 9, 1944. She is an American novelist, a short story writer. She works as a social worker, teacher, and lecturer. In 1982, Alice Walker published her famous novel entitled The Color Purple. It's a feminist novel about abused and uneducated black women who struggle for empowerment and has been praised to death. Alice Walker won the National Bank Award. Walker was always active in causes involving civil rights and women's rights, but it was through her stories she was even more instrumental in opening the eyes and mind of the people throughout the world. Walker grew up in an environment of violence and racism, which along with her family poverty. Walker is one of the most well-known female authors in the United States of America. Walker, at the age of 8, was playing cowboys and Indians with her brother, was accidentally blinded in the right eye by the BB gun. At the time of incident, her parents didn't know the severity of her injury and tried to cure it at home. Walker's eye got infected in the following days. By her senior year, Walker was suffering from extreme depression as she became pregnant. Walker even tried to commit suicide and abortion, and her poem were published called Once. After recovering from the abortion, Walker wrote again a story called To Hell. With dying, it was published in 1967, a story about an old man who received from death by the attentive love of his children, that later published as children's book in 1988. Walker continues to work and speak her mind in spite of her critics would say about her. In 1965, Walker married to Melvin Rosemont Leventhal, a white Jewish, and she got her first daughter Rebecca. But her marriage didn't last and ended in 1977. When the couple got divorced, Walker continues writing. We're greatly influenced by the political, and her devotions and energy to the society is very evident in her works. The moral lesson on the story of Jeffrey Dahmer, I think that divorce or parents fighting is hard on children at any age. And I think parents should give them the equal love and attention, and also guide them in every path that they take. In the case of Alice Walker, moral lessons of the story, I think, don't underestimate the women and never shame the skin color. If we are black or white, we have a different content of character. And even there are many struggles, never lose hope and put a blame on yourself, because there's always a hope and an opportunity waiting on you. And now, let's move on. We will tackle about historical views of the childhood that we're gonna tackle by Fatima Riyadha Tarang.
Hi, it's me again, FATIMA Tarang, and my assigned topic is the historical view of childhood. So why is it important to study the historical view of childhood? Well, understanding early childhood development can help you more effectively support your young ones. But more importantly, it helps children develop a strong sense of confidence and determination. The education of the young mind is an important step in readying the child for future learning experiences. Throughout history, scholars have theorized about the length and nature of childhood and about how children should be reared. As a result, three broad philosophical views of childhood have emerged. The number one is the original sin view, the number two is the tabula rasa view, and the last one is the innate goodness view. Let's go first to the original sin view. So let me read it first. The original sin view was advocated during the Middle Ages. Children were perceived being born as basically bad or as evil beings. The goal, therefore, was the child rearing should provide salvation to remove the sins from the child's life. So the original sin view was held during the Middle Age and was explained by Saint Augustine. So, it says there that every child was born guilty and bad, with its inherent human nature irrevocably corrupted and attracted to sins. It means that they are born with such built-in urge to do bad things and to disobey God. And the child rearing means pagpapalaki ng anak. So, yung goal ng child rearing is alisin sa batang kasalanan ito. Sa gayon ay lumikha ng isang decent or decente, masunurin sa batas na nasa hustong gulang. The next is the tabula rasa view. Tabula rasa view, 17th century. It was proposed by English philosopher John Locke that children are not innately bad, but instead they are like blank tablets. John Locke believed that childhood experiences are important in determining adult characteristics, and he advised parents to spend time with their children and to help them become contributing members of the society. So, tabula rasa was proposed by the English philosopher John Locke. He argued that children were not innately sinful, but instead they were like a tabula rasa or blank state. When we say blank state, it is something that is still an original state. Hindi pa siya napapalitan by people, experiences, etc. So, ang tabula rasa ay nagsasabi na ang lahat ng individual ay ipinanganak na walang built-in na nilalaman sa kaisipan. Therefore, yung lahat ng kaalaman ay nagmula sa karanasan or perception lamang. He also advised the parents to spend time with their children so that they could help their children to contribute to their society. And the last philosophical view is the innate goodness view. The innate goodness view, 18th century, it was presented by a French philosopher in the name of Jean-Jacques Rousseau. He emphasized that children are inherently good because they are basically good. The only role of caregivers is for the children to be permitted to grow naturally with little monitoring or constraint. This view, put forward by the Swiss-born philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau during the 18th century, stressed the inherent goodness of children. He believed that children should be allowed to grow naturally without too much parental monitoring and constraint. So now, let me just read the last paragraph of my topic so that we can proceed to the next reporter. Our view of children has dramatically changed.
Hello everyone, it's me again, Christine JHANDERIE G. Duarte from BSED-ENGLISH 1T. For today's video, I'm going to tackle about current concern about today's children. Current concern about today's children. The topic and news that we read and hear every day whenever in newspaper, magazine, and on the internet are mostly centered about children welfare. What is the children welfare? Children welfare is a continuum of services designed to ensure that children are safe and that families have the necessary support for their children successfully. And the next is health and well-being. We are all affected of COVID-19, just like lack of financial job loss. And there's more, and I will tackle it. Poverty. Poverty is about not having enough money to meet basic needs, including food, clothing, and shelter. Starvation. Suffering or death caused by hunger. Alcohol and drugs. Alcohol and drugs. Mental health issue can lead to drug abuse and alcohol. And the last is mental health. Mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. And the next discussion is education. Education with the new normal DepEd decide the basic education learning continuity plan. This plan aims to ensure the safety of student, teacher, and staff. It also intends to give quality distance learning by using self-learning modules. This can be accessed through digital forms, radio, TV, and online platforms. Social. Cultural context such as cultural annexity and gender development. Culture. According to social culture perspective, our psychology growth is guided in part by people in our lives who are in mentor types roles such as teacher and parents. Other times, we develop our values and beliefs through our interaction within social groups or by participating in culture events. Ethnicity. Through custom, traditions, language, religion, practice, and cultural values. Ethic identify. Refer to one's sense of belonging to an ethics group and the parts of one's thinking, receptions, feelings, and behaviors that is due to ethics group membership. Gender. As girls and boys experience physical, cognitive, and social change to prepare them for their adult roles as women and men. Sex differs. The biological trait that societies use to assign people into the category of either male or female. And my last discussion is period of development. Prenatal period. Prenatal period is the period of time before birth. And the next is infancy. Infancy. Infancy is the period from birth through completion of the 12 months of life. And the next is childhood. Childhood period of the human lifespan between infancy and adolescence, extending from age 1 to 2 to 12 to 13. Adolescent. Early adolescence, January age 11 to 14. Middle adolescence, age 2, 15 to 17. And late adolescent, age 2, 18 to 20. Adulthood. Adulthood is commonly thought of as beginning at age 20 or 21 years. Middle age. It's followed by old age, about 60 years. And that's all. So now let's proceed for the next reporter, Miss NURWIENA ASJARI.
Good day everyone, I am NURWIENA ASJARI, a member of Study Hub number 4. So in this video, I'm going to tackle about the developmental processes and periods of development. So what is developmental processes? Developmental processes are the series of biological changes associated with information transfer, growth, and differentiation during the life cycle of organism. Information transfer is the transmission of DNA and the other biological signals from parent cells to daughter cells. So there are the 3 types of developmental processes. First is biological, the second is cognitive, and the last is socio-emotional processes. So what is the biological developmental processes? The biological development processes focuses on the physical development of an individual, such as perceptual and motor capacities and changes in the body size. While the cognitive processes focuses on the cognitive development, memory, creativity, language, and knowledge. And the socio-emotional development processes is focused on the changes in the individual psychosocial development. So it covers changes involving self-sufficiency and self-understanding, along with their morality and emotional communication. Personality. Each child has his own personality and respond to caregivers or experiences differently. Just like adults, children may have outgoing, shy, or even-tempered natures. Your caregiver should be in tune with your child's special personality and treat your child in a positive and caring manners that agrees with his special personality. This is crucial of nurturing his healthy emotional growth. By understanding your child's personality, you and your caregiver can help him succeed by offering care, activities, and discipline that best fit his needs. Developmental stage. As your child grows, you may find yourself searching for the clues to her behavior. As a parent, you may hear the words developmental stage. This is just another way of saying your child is moving through a certain time periods in the growing up processes. At time, she may be fascinated with her hands, her feet, and her mouth. And she grows, she may get into everything. Lock your doors and cabinets and take a deep breath during those exploration years. Then, there will be an age when independence is all she wants, and every stage, what she needs is your love, understanding, and time. Now, let's proceed to the next topic, which is periods of development. Periods of development in the lifespan is usually divided into broad age ranges. The prenatal period, the period from conception to birth, the infancy and toddlerhood, birth to age 3. The preschool period, ages 3 to 6. Middle childhood, ages 6 to 12. Adolescence, ages 12 to 20. Young adulthood, ages 20 to 40. Middle adulthood, ages 40 to 65. And late adulthood, ages 65 to death. Generally, we think there are 3 periods of development, such as infancy, childhood, and teenagers in the early periods of development. But developmentalists focus on early age development and break this part into these 5 periods of development. So, first is prenatal development. Prenatal development. Let's go through the prenatal development, that is conception through birth. With conception, the prenatal development begins to unfold. In the germinal stage, the first and shortest stage of the prenatal period, the zygote, begins to divide and grow in complexity during the first 2 weeks following conception. In infancy and toddlerhood, infants grow at rapid pace over the first 2 years of their lives. In the first days of life, infants' body rhythms, walking, eating, sleeping, and eliminating, govern the infant's behavior. Often at seemingly random times, these most basic activities are controlled by a variety of bodily systems. One of the most important ways that behavior becomes integrated is through the development of various traits, which are repetitive cyclical patterns of behavior. Now, let's move on to the developmental issue. The most important issue in the study of children development includes the role of nature versus nurture, continuity versus discontinuity, and early versus later development. And the early childhood, also known as the preschool period, which extends from the end of the infancy at about age of 2 to around age of 6, is an exciting time in children's life. The preschool years mark a time of preparation, a period spent anticipating and getting ready for the start of a child's formal education, through which society will begin the process of passing on its intellectual tools to a new generation. And during adolescence, children become young adults. They undergo striking physical, intellectual, and emotional changes. However, the path to adulthood is not a straight line. Adolescents do not simply become steadily more and more like adults with time. Rather, adolescents alternate between acting like adults and acting like children. As, a, as adolescents develop, they gradually spend more time behaving as adults and less time behaving as children. During adolescence, people develop a sense of who they are and learn to form intimate relationships with people who are not members of the family. Guiding adolescents through this intricate period of development can be a challenge for parents. Risk-taking, such as engaging in violence and binge drinking, is a common among the adolescents and causes severe health risks. Unhealthy behavior, such as smoking or drug use, which cause serious problems later in life, also typically begin in adolescence. Nature versus nurture. According to B and Boyd, this is issue with these theories involves a conflict between theories that believe that a birth of mind is a blank slate. In other words, a child learns completely through experiences that he or she has in life. This would explain the nurture side of the argument. The other side of the argument involves the belief that at least some knowledge is inherent. They believe that the natural knowledge can be molded through this development, but humans are born with innate abilities to develop. An example of this conflict would come from common discussion about whether people are products of their environments, which means a child is more or less likely to learn because of their socio-economic or religious environment. For example, educators debate this all the time because there are as many people that believe that people can be great learners despite what their socioeconomic status is and are able to succeed with the proper training and supports. So now, lead to issue number 2, which is continuity versus discontinuity. Continuity and discontinuity are two competing theories to explain how humans development. Continuity theorists believe that human development is a gradual and continuous process with no sudden changes. It is important for the educators to know about each of the competing theories because in practice we must consider the developmental processes of the students we serve. Our understanding of these issues has implications for how educators structure the learning environments for students. So now let's move on to the issue number 3, early experience versus later experience. A second important consideration in development psychology involves the relative importance of early experience versus those occur later in life. Psychoanalytic theories tend to focus on events that occur in early childhood. According to the Sigmund Freud, much of a child's personality is completely established by the age of 5. If this indeed the case, those who have experienced deprived or abusive childhoods might never adjust or develop normally. In contrast to this view, researchers have found the influence of childhood events does not necessarily have a dominating on global behavior throughout life. However, this is evidence that childhood adversity may correlate to greater levels of stress in adulthood. Many people with less than a perfect childhood come develop normally.
That's all. Thank you.